Well, hey everybody. My name is Jared Malott, and I'm here with my good friend Mateo Caliz. And this is the Coltist. This is episode 8. This is the Doldrums of summer,
Yeah,
officially. However, 3 weeks away from the 2023 NBA draft. And tonight is also game one of the NBA finals. And I think anytime there's like a momentous occasion, you're also recording a podcast. Hey man, that's pretty freaking cool. So
yeah,
how about that for a day? Um, But yeah, this is an Indianapolis Colts slash Indiana Pacers podcast in which we talk about two sports franchises in different sports on the same show for good reasons, right? Like they're not always great. So sometimes it's important to be able to talk about what else we
yeah,
got going on, man. And it just so happens we're kind of in the off season of both. It's the it's the end of,
yeah,
well, I guess it'd be the climax. The climax of the NBA season is upon us. And then it'll just be
yeah.
training
Just
camp
nothing.
for
Only baseball. I mean, I don't know if you like baseball, but just that's the only thing
now
you
here
got.
I'm more of a like I'll go to a baseball game person. Um that's fun. I'm not the first person to say this, but like baseball is exhausting to watch on television. Like it's just too slow to watch on TV. When you're live and you like get some sense of like danger, some element of danger, like a foul ball could kill you. That's exciting, man. I'll get a hot
Yeah,
dog, drink a Coke, eat some popcorn, man. I'm in it. Not watching on TV though. Until it gets to playoffs. Mostly because if you look at the scores, I don't know about you, if you just check the box scores and it's like these people got run ruled. Oh, they don't even do that in major leagues. They just let you lose 20-0. Oh, suck. That sucks.
yeah,
Who wants to do that? Unless you're the winning team, and then it's like, hey, fucking, you should have run ruled someone and didn't. They don't even do that. So we get to kind of claim a luxury in that we're not just confined to talking about the Indianapolis Colts, who
yeah.
are
Either
in
the
their
Colts or the Pacers.
the Colts are in their off season after smashing the draft, drafting Anthony Richardson fourth overall, who we talked about prior to him getting drafted was like we kind of felt like that was who was gonna be there. It wasn't a matter of
Yeah,
like a want like this is what I want to do. No, it was like this is probably what's gonna fall in your lap, and it's like oh there it goes. Um, and much to our delight, we've heard that he's been outstanding and is much
yeah.
far. The quote
Not
I
bad
heard
so far. Yeah,
much farther along than we anticipated is what I saw, but I also know that and we know, so I'm not trying to say like I know anything, that Anthony Richardson was working with Gardner Minshew before the draft even. So he probably was a little more familiar of the goings ons, probably slid in a little cleaner, you know what I mean? And has managed not to look like a doofus. I don't know if you saw Will Levis overthrowing someone on like a 10-yard route, or even Baker
yeah,
Mayfield overthrowing his tight end by like 5 yards, and you're just like, nope, you haven't actually heard that about Anthony Richardson. They're like super impressed. He's definitely looking at starting very early in his career. Those are all good things, man. This is a franchise this is what we do here is big time quarterbacks. Um,
yeah,
this feels different because he's a incredible athlete. Um, which a lot of people have pointed out to me over the last like 6 months that has nothing to do with winning at quarterback. But again, I'll always say, there was a long period of time in the NFL where you could be black and play quarterback. So I don't really give a shit about your data if it doesn't
yeah,
count that in it. And if you look at the winningest quarterbacks in like the last 3 years, and all you got to do is take Tom Brady out of it. He's like a seasoned veteran. He doesn't count. All the other quarterbacks are like elite athletes that are like winning high level games. Why? Because if you're winning a lot of football games, I bet you have a good pass rush. And if you have a good pass rush,
yeah,
that opposing quarterback had better be able to move because if he can't A, B, C gap escape and make a play downfield, Look at Matt Ryan last year. You found out this is the very end of his career because as soon as he got touched out of the side of the pocket, he just
Yeah,
crumbled,
he was down.
wasn't making a play. I don't think Anthony Richardson's that kind of guy. You know what I mean? So I think the Colts, by the way, who if I was the Colts, they're getting nothing but bulletin board material because a couple weeks ago, a list comes out ranking all of the position groups, and the Colts are dead last.
Yeah.
I saw an article today, same style, ranking the teams by position groups. And you know what? They had the Colts at 29th. And I would have that shit up in the locker room. Like, look,
Yeah, and I don't
they
think, yeah,
expect weird nose diving for Marvin Harrison Jr. Like that's what we're gonna do next year. That's what they're expecting out of the Colts. I don't believe that. For the record, they did have the O line and D line as like our best groups, which is a win for me because I love them big guys. But yeah, it's not like I said. This has been one of those off seasons where like we're really going to talk about the Colts picking up Jannard Avery, right? As is an outside linebacker, graduated and played at the University of Memphis. Um, 6 foot 250 out of Granada, Mississippi. Probably, I hate to say not making a team. I always hate to do that when they decide somebody. I don't want to be the one that says it. But I think like at best a rotational player and special teamer.
yeah, yeah, probably
Uh,
not much more than
to
that. Yeah,
probably more like a scout team guy. But he is a veteran presence. He got a college degree in 2017. Um, he's a hell of a high school and college football player. Um,
yeah.
yeah, and that's cool. It's hey, if he sticks, he
I mean,
sticks.
it's the only, yeah, it's the only news we have, so it's not like we have much to talk about. I mean, it's not even training camp yet. I mean, for the Colts, this is as much as we're gonna get for the next what, like month and a half, perhaps, like 2, 3 months. We're not
Mm,
getting more than this. This is all
no,
we're getting.
they're not gonna put out a lot of camp like any sort of camp footage. They're got to be treading lightly, especially when you have a young ascending, that was you call him, like an ascending young quarterback that you anticipate could start. God, he'd be starting young in the NFL.
Yeah.
Shit. Can you imagine being halfway through your professional career at 27? Like, just like, oh
Yeah.
my God. He's like halfway done at 27. You know what I mean? Um,
Yeah.
so yeah, so the fact that the Colts even like have made a move for a player, sounds like they probably needed somebody a little more willing to tackle. If we're looking at like height, weight, position, why would you bring this guy in? Because they're gonna have to have some level of contact. They needed somebody to hit. Um, it, why else would you bring somebody of that size in, right? You'd bring in someone smaller if you need. Anyway, I need to talk myself into that. But yeah, in terms of the Pacers, um, the draft lottery popped
The
off.
draft,
Pacers are
yeah.
seventh, right?
Yeah, we talked about this last episode. We like I believe last episode was just after the lottery.
Yeah.
So
And now we're
yeah,
3 weeks out from the draft, and we kind of called that we'd get together again before the draft. Um, but yeah, I've seen the Pacers working out a bunch of draft eligible players. Cool. They're
yeah, it
they're looking
looks
looking the hell around. Why not? You've got a
looks
few
like they're
picks.
going to take, a wingman, like at least someone that's, above 6'8", 6'9", probably that can shoot the ball, a guy that can play the small power forward.
Hmm.
The three or the four, basically. I mean, it looks like it's going to be one of those guys.
Yeah.
The
Uh,
ones I'm seeing the most, it's I don't know how to pronounce that name too well, but I believe it's Jarras Walker and
Okay.
then Cam Whitmore from Villanova.
Mm,
Whitmore is the only guy that I, have watched some of his tape, have watched some of his games.
mm.
And that's a player that I'm saying like, yeah, I can definitely see the fit here. Like it makes perfect sense. So yeah, just excited.
Yeah. You got a lot of shots at getting somebody that sticks. That it takes. I mean, how many more people do you need to be competitive in the East? I think they were, like I said, I go by win differential. So they were 10 games better this past year than the year prior. And they were just a handful of games from the playoffs. So it's like, what do you need? You need a guy to stick and make your team and then contribute some minutes and maybe get some win shares, some 4 or 5 wins for you. Is there a 4 or 5 win share guy available at 7? Well, yeah, those guys are generally available through the 20s, which lends to the Pacers getting a couple stabs at it if they're willing to make any sort of move at all. That's the way I think about it. I don't know how anybody else thinks about it, basketball players anymore. I think about win share because like everything else is irrelevant. You have guys that are like really good scorers, but don't do shit else. That's not a great player. Then you have guys that are like pretty good at everything, and it's like, yeah, but they're not excelling anywhere. That's also a problem. And then you have guys that like what you have to look at is like who's winning basketball games. That's what's
Yeah,
important. Not for the record, it's not a number of wins. It's like wins they contributed to. So like you can't just be on the team and be like one of the best players in the league. That's not how that works. You are by virtue, right? Um, not by practice. So it's like I said, it's the Doldrums of Summer. It's the name of the podcast episode. It's for the record, I like this. I like the quiet.
yeah, it's nice.
You know what I mean?
And
I'm.
yeah,
We've had tumultuous. We've had disaster. You know what I mean? That's what we've had as franchises. You know what I mean? These franchises have not had great summers. You know
yeah,
what I mean?
historically it's
So
been bad. Yeah,
yeah. So if you don't mind, Mateo, I was kind of chatting with you before we record the podcast today. So
yeah,
Doldrums summer ain't shit going on anyway. We're gonna run out of stuff pretty quick. I can kind of fill a little time talking about what I got going on in my life. I feel like it's like hyper relevant to our podcast. I don't have anywhere else to lay it, and I figure if it's okay with you, unless you
yeah,
got some
sure.
other shit you want to rattle off,
Nah,
we're
yeah,
3 weeks out from the draft. We got a few picks
yeah,
in the
we
first
don't have.
round. Yay! Like
Yeah,
you know what I
that's it.
mean? Like, um, we don't need a big and we don't need a guard we don't need ball hungry players. So you know what I mean? Like you don't need guys that need the ball to do shit with. You got Matherin and Halliburton and Turner, who if you could just follow me, you just need somebody that can play with them guys
Yeah,
that knows
yeah,
how to play backside help defense, that knows how to slip to the corner, that can hit the corner three, right? That plays in
that's it. That's
transition,
pretty much it.
tries to
Yeah,
contest at the rim when he can, doesn't get a foul trouble easy. Like it's not fucking hard. Blocks the fuck out. Like it's not hard. Who does that? Get that guy. Because if he just blocks out, just tries to contest and not give up easy buckets, you know what I mean? And then just gets the fuck open, man. That's basketball. And don't be ball dominant. You can't be a ball dominant player because then you're taking away from what your strength is, which is
yeah,
anytime Halliburton touches the shit. So I feel like it's fair, man. Like it's like we said, it's like those are somewhere else you want to talk about.
yeah. That's it.
They've worked
There's
out every draft
there's
eligible
nothing
player.
else.
You know what? Edie's going back to Purdue. Um, and I seen a bunch of butthurt people really upset with IU for posting pride colors, like Hoosiers and pride, and like, oh my God, the comments are awful. So yeah, all bigots can die. And then yeah, so as far as what I got going on personally, so for the past few years, for those of you following along at home, I've really like been like, can I actually become an NFL coach? Is that possible? Or something? Like I'm still figured out where I'm landing. I don't actually know how this works. I guess I got to apply.
Yeah,
But um so I got involved with a 501c3 called Soldiers to the Sidelines. Which is a charity that I think anyone that's listening to this podcast would level with the fact that they're trying to make veterans into football coaches, including yours truly. For the past 3 years, I've gone to an annual football certification through them, which is a 4-day event. And I'm telling you, the who's who of football has been there. Mac Brown was the opening speaker this past week. I didn't even get to go to all of it. I went to about the first hour because, friends, this past week I went to scout school at the New York Jets. It was absolutely incredible. It is as a direct result of my relationship with soldiers to sidelines. I was one of a handful of veterans that got chosen to go. So my many thanks for whatever happens will always be to soldiers to sidelines, Harrison Bernstein, Dell Smith, the guys that run the shit. Um, I sat in a room for 4 nights on a Zoom call with college employees, like people that work for LSU, Clemson, Oregon, you name them, were sitting in that room. Their scouts were in that room. And then a bunch of NFL team scouts were in that room. And they're headlining speakers. Like I was telling you before, it had to be the most tenured scouts in the NFL. And the longer I sat in the room, I'm like, why am I here? Like, I do not belong. This is well above my pay grade. I'm trying to get a job in football. And then when it came back around, I was actually the only person in the room not actively employed in
Yeah.
football because the other veterans are all working somewhere in football. So of course, like I feel like a loser, but just so everybody knows, like I'm also in school full time, studying analytics at Purdue, and I obviously work full time, all that bullshit. Um, but I wanted to get it out, get it on wax. Like, hey, I went through this. I went through, it was like 4 days. But I was basically in my chair where I work all day for like 13 hours straight for 4 days, trying to make sure I stuck my nose in that football certification right. They sent me to scout school. I figure I gotta stick my nose in there and say hi, thank you. I'm gonna go now. I have to go to this badass scout school where like the director of scouting for the Chargers, I'm pretty sure it was either head or director of scouting for the Chargers, a 10-year scout for the Bears, that scouts at SEC. Brandon Rehab was his name, and then like all the Jets people. Um, there is the first female scout is a Jet employee. She was a sweetheart. I think her name was Connie. We were really getting along. Um, but yeah, it was such a unique experience. I'm not really sure what to do with my hands. It's kind of a
Hmm.
situation where like that's not my aspiration, but it's like an entry point, right? Like
Yeah.
that I was telling you, I was getting along with the first female scout. Like that's something I could take to my grave. Is like, you know, when push came to shove, and I got in the same room with like a legendary human being, I wasn't like a thorn in their side. I wasn't an irritant. She was giggling with me. We were having a good time, and it's like,
Yeah.
hey, like I might be able to get a foot in the door. That might be a foot in the door. You know what I mean? So I haven't like sent any emails or done anything absurd yet. That's not the intent. I don't know what to fucking do. But I'm sure there's like conversations because here's what's been going on. So let's back up a little bit. So I know I'm like insane right now, but like back up a little bit before that certification and before that scout school. Let's just right before all that shit. I've been going through a membership development program with them. Now, let me tell you about the first two people to graduate from that program. One of them is head of the U.S. Army Sprint program. I don't remember his name. Another member of their membership development program, he spoke this year. He's a 7A head coach in Georgia. So, like, you get what I'm saying. Like, big time, big time employment. I don't, I have no clue what's about to happen. Nothing. But I also just finished that membership development program that I've been doing for probably a year and a half, 18 months, where really been diving deep on the entire process of coaching, like from recruiting all the way to on the field on game day, and exactly how it's being done at the highest of levels, how it should be, all that, all of those things. Um, I just finished that too. So the last project I had to do, so just to wrap it all up and be like, so that conversation's about to happen. I met with Dell Smith, and I always want to make sure, like when I fuck up, I point out when I fuck up. So when someone asks you what's your confidence level in something that they are vastly, like they're 30 years ahead of where you are in this position, and they say what's your comfort level or confidence level, it's fucking zero because you just started, Jared. And I said 10, 11. I'm a shot out of a cannon. I'm not like a normal human
Yeah.
being because like any other dumbass should have just said fucking zero. And I told him after he was just like, then why the fuck are we meeting? Like I feel like I'm wasting my fucking time. You understand? I'm like, Dina Boys, like you're paying us money. Like what the fuck are we sitting here for? And you're just like, whoa, fuck.
Hmm.
My
Yeah.
bad, G. Like I don't know anything. God damn it. Like forget I said anything. Shit. I was gonna say I don't know anything. I'm a zero, but like I feel like that's what everybody else says. I want to be like everybody else. It's not my aspiration. I want to be the greatest coach of all time. Where the fuck you want me to say? Like I'm ready, baby. Put me in. You know what I mean? Like what the fuck
Yeah.
other else do you want? You know, and he was like, I understand like there's a difference between fervor and comfort level. You know what I mean? I was like, facts. Facts. So, like I said, I definitely like can come off a little cocky, overconfident, and I definitely have like way too much shit going on. But it's all kind of like done now. Like I was telling my wife like the last 2 nights, like I don't have shit to do. I don't have class.
Hmm.
I'm on a little break from class. I don't got football certifications to do. In fact, this is the first thing I've done
Yeah.
after
There's this,
work
yeah.
in a few days. Yay. So you know what? We can have a doldrums this summer. We've been busy, buddy. we've I've been I don't know about you. That's all in addition to a full-time job. Like full-time at school, full-time, you know what I mean? Last week was
Yeah.
insane. Like I was quadruple queuing. I was at work, still technically at work, then I had to go to log into the football certification program, and I had a
Yeah.
lecture. 2 of the nights, I had a lecture for
So,
college that I actually had to listen to that first. So that took priority because those were the last 2 lectures of the
yeah.
semester.
That's yeah.
Yeah. So I was like, fuck, I can't miss all that. I got to pay attention to this lecture. I'm still clocked into work and I clock out of work. Now I'm over here. Now I got to dip out of this to get back in that meeting. Man, but it's all over. Like we made it through that. That shit was wild. Fortunately for me, I sleep 8 hours a night no matter what. Right. So like, yeah, we were burning the candle on both ends. We made it fucking through that. I have no idea what's ahead of me. The last thing I had to do was take 15 plays from a football game. And I can't, you're going to have to tell me if I fucked this up or not. Okay. So
Yeah.
give me your feedback. What I did was, what the objective was to take 15 plays from a football game, and you're going to diagram that football play from the
Yeah.
offense's perspective. And you have here's these what would you call that? Oh, what's the word for like mm, I'll have to think of it. But basically, here's some copies that you'll want to look at that
Yeah.
show you which side of the field they're on, like left, middle, or right, right? And you'll want to use that for each play. Make sure you make each play into its own file. But ultimately, here's a JPEG. Put that play on, watch this play. Tell me what to do. Give notes. And what I decided to do was I sat there and thought like I could try to draw that by hand,
Yeah.
or I could just go to Huddle. And if you get Huddle for like 15
Yeah.
bucks a month, they got Huddle tools. And I just built all the plays out in Huddle tools, copy and pasted some shit and fucking banged it out. And I'm like, is that smart? Do I look like I cut corners? Like I did all of the work that was asked. It's just my shit's color coded, right? My routes aren't crisp because I had drawn the routes by hand. But like the routes aren't crisp. That's not football. Like the routes have shape to them. You know what I mean? Like, so it looks a little more natural. I'll agree. But I'm trying to think like I have to think you see that and you say, I mean, he had to look around a little bit to figure out how am I going to present this? How am I going to do this? I can't just. I'm not saying I'm smarter than anyone, but I can't just picture just anybody figuring that out that quick. You know what I mean? Without having to go get help, find somebody. No, I was just like, what the fuck am I supposed to do? Does Huddle have tools like that? Oh shit, 15 bucks a month, you can actually draw your play by hand. Oh, okay.
Yeah.
I'll just do that shit. So yeah, that was what I turned in, was those 15 plays. And then I even created a Word document, had the plays in order with additional notes in case like, hey, the little 3-liner wasn't enough. It was like, cool, I wrote even more notes for each play. So like, I don't know if that's good work or shit, but that was the last thing I had to turn in to Dell before the school started. And I haven't heard from either of them in a week. So That's why I figured it's a good time to say it on a podcast. Like, I have no idea what's going to happen. I haven't heard from anyone. I don't know if I'm on a shit list. I don't know if I've been excommunicated. I don't know if I'm in for the surprise of my life. I'm not really. I wasn't really looking for that. But you know what I mean? Like, or if stone nothing, which is what we deserve, right? But I did kind of wrap up all that stuff with a bow, and
Yeah.
now I get to kind of like enjoy the weather, right?
Yeah, that's nice.
So I don't know about you, but it's like our summer today was like a record high hot. Um, so yeah, I don't mind at all the doldrums of summer because I've definitely been busy. And now it's nice, and it's nice that it's not also a blind panic about our sports teams, right? Which is
Yeah.
a break from the past. It kind of feels like we're building on something. I don't know if that's, yeah, I kind of feel like good things are ahead of us, and it's not going to be so much
Yeah.
of a rough ride like it was last year. I felt like last year was just last couple years have been just a probably rough years as sports fans in Indy. So I think we're on the up and up, and I don't mind the quiet. Yeah,
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, it's nice.
you were
And then,
traveling last couple months, right? I mean,
nah, yeah, I went 2 weeks just, down south. We here in I was there before. We have, the south of the country it has mountains, lakes, the basically nature. I mean,
yeah.
if you go to the north, you have the deserts and all that stuff. If you go down south, then you have the snow and the mountains and the lakes and the forest, natural parks, all that.
Hmm.
So yeah, I usually go down south like at least 3 or 4 times a year.
Oh, no
Do
kidding.
some excursions and off-road adventures, to
Yeah,
say it like that. Just a couple of weeks to basically disconnect from the routine, and it's enjoyable. So yeah, I got back from there last week,
yeah.
like last Wednesday, I believe it was.
Okay, so basically a week ago, right?
Yeah.
Hmm. So good to have you back. You didn't miss a thing.
Yeah.
Things went as they were going and as they are. No news. Um, but yeah, that was this has been episode 8 of the Coltist on this. Is this episode 8? Pretty sure it's episode 8. Pretty sure that was episode 7.
Episode 8. Yeah.
Yeah. And we're calling it the Doldrums of Summer.
Yeah, because there's not
Yeah.
much to talk about. Hopefully, in a couple of weeks it is
Yeah,
the same.
I like Pacers trade up. That'll be
Yeah,
the
that's the
next
only
thing.
good news. Yeah. Hopefully that is the only reason, I mean, that's the only news there is.
Mhm.
Any other than that, I don't see how it will be
All
nice.
22 Colts starters seen multiple times in public exercising together. And you're like,
Yeah.
oh, that's generally
Okay.
seen
Yeah.
as a good thing. Um,
Yeah. That's the only ones. That's the only ones I want.
yeah. So hey, have a great weekend. We'll see you in a couple
Yeah.
weeks.
In a couple of weeks. Hopefully without any new news.
Yeah, hopefully no news. No news is good news. All
Yeah.
right, y'all.
Yeah.